Very good morning, my dear friends. In this session, we are going to discuss about the letters of credit. Otherwise, they are called LOC in the banking business. Friends, the LOCs play a very important role in the national and international banking transactions. In fact, without that, there is no banking business today. Even from the day the banking business started, they have been put into vogue and high usage and practice globally, rather. Then, friends, the meaning of letter of credit is that it's a written undertaking given by a banker to pay a beneficiary against the delivery of certain requisite documents. So don't mistake it from this traveler's checks, even though that could be taken as one of the types, but still there is a difference. So it's a written undertaking given by the banker to pay a beneficiary against the delivery of certain requisite documents. And then the business community today has accepted it as an essential practice for banking transactions. And a letter of credit is to be taken as a promise made by the banker who issues it in favor of its customers, which is honored on a global basis by the other banks. That is where the difference comes. Honored as a global basis, on a global basis by the other banks. This is an instrument. A letter of credit is an instrument, and a banker requests another party. The party could be a banker or a trader, as the case may be, to grant a specified amount to a third party specified in the document, and the issuing banker binds himself to pay the money paid under this particular letter of credit. That is the modus operandi. These particular letters of credit are also called by other nomenclature documentary credits. Friends, it is viewed as a method of payment less secure than payment in advance. Then, from the viewpoint of a person selling the products, it is more secure than documentary collections and open account. And then, from the viewpoint of the buyer, it's more secure than payment in advance, but less secure than documentary collections or open account. Generally, the letters of credit are governed by the rules promulgated by the International Chamber of Commerce, generally which are based on uniform customs and practice for documentary credits. The rules are available on the official website of the ICC, International Chamber of Commerce. This particular term, letter of credit, derived from the French word accreditation, which is derived from the Latin term accreditivus, which means trust. Which means trust. Then, friends, we will go to the definition part. A letter of credit is defined as a written commitment to pay by a customer's bank, called the issuing bank, to the third party's bank, called the accepting bank, or the negotiating bank, or the paying bank. So these are all the terms with regard to the parties involved thereon. The letter of credit guarantees payment of a specified sum in a specified currency, provided that the seller meets precisely defined conditions and submits the prescribed documents within a fixed time frame. Then these documents, in fact, could be a bill of lading or an airway bill, any commercial invoice, or any certificate of origin. And the bankers, for issuing letter of credit in favor of the seller or exporter who is called the beneficiary, the buyer called as the applicant for these letters of credit, or account party or opener also, either pays the specified amount along with the service charges upfront to the issuing bank or negotiates a credit, depends upon the arrangement that particular person makes with the banker. Friends, a very important aspect, a letter of credit is to be termed as a negotiable instrument. And the related instruments are bills of exchange, letter of guarantee, irrevocable letter of credit, and standby letter of credit, all would be termed under the category of bill of exchanges. Then the Fairlex Financial Dictionary defines a letter of credit as a statement issued by a bank to the buyer of a good, stating that the seller will receive payment on time and in the correct amount. If the buyer fails to make payment, the bank will do so on his or her behalf. The buyer presents a letter of credit to the seller, which eliminates the risk that the seller will not be paid. Letters of credit have become, in fact, very, very common practice in international commerce and trade and industry. Then, friends, the third definition. The Collins Dictionary of Business defines the letter of credit as a document used to effect payment for internationally traded goods, usually as part of a contract for the sale of goods, which ensures that the supplier receives prompt and guaranteed payment, while the purchaser obtains a short term credit line. In brief, under this facility, a purchaser in country A of goods supplied by a firm in country B can arrange a letter of credit from his bank, the credit issuing bank it is called, authorizing it to make payment to the supplier either through a branch of the bank in country B or more usually through a bank which is called the negotiating bank holding the supplier's account. Under a contract of sale of goods, this will be done on the presentation to the negotiating bank of documents stipulated in the letter of credit, such as the bill of lading, insurance policy, certificate of origin, etc. In the case of certain letters of credit relating to particular transactions and customers located in heavily indebted countries, a secondary market has developed to offset political as well as commercial risk. Then, friends, in the complete real estate encyclopedia, which was written by Dennis L. Evans, the letter of credit was also defined, and it was defined as an instrument issued by a bank or other financial institution called issuer, agreeing that it will pay money to another called beneficiary on behalf of the bank's customer who is called a counterparty upon the happening of certain named events. Usually, there is an issuance fees of 1 to 2% of the face amount of the letter of credit. And then the banking regulations require the same undertaking as for a commercial loan in case of issuing letters of credit. And the letter of credit will set out the exact prerequisites to be met as per the bank's bylaws. Usually, these include a particular time and place to present the original letter of credit and the exact documents that must accompany the letter. And in fact, sometimes they call for very strict compliance rule with regard to issuing the letters of credit. And then some banks follow substantial compliance rule so that minor typographical or syntax errors could be accepted. Then the last definition is under the Uniform Customs and Practice for Documentary Credits, UCP it is called. A letter of credit is defined as any arrangement, however named or described, whereby a bank called the issuing bank, everywhere there is a thing, issuing bank, acting at the request and in accordance with the instructions of a customer who is called the applicant for the credit, is to make payment to or to the order of a third party called the beneficiary, or is to pay, accept, or negotiate bills of exchange, which are called drafts, drawn by the beneficiary or authorizes such payments to be made or such drafts to be paid, accepted, or negotiated by another bank against stipulated documents, provided that the terms and conditions of the credit are complied with. Ultimately, it says about the arrangement made, and then the banker, issuing banker, undertakes to pay, and some other bank will pay to third party, the beneficiary, and that would be made good by the issuing banker. This is the modus operandi. I mean, this is the basic structure of a letter of credit. So the definition part is that we have seen with regard to these different five types of definitions. Ultimately, concept is same. Then, friends, we will further discuss the requisite documents, what is the modus operandi, and the kinds, and the risks involved, and the do's and don'ts. So, these are all the other things connected with letters of credit. It could be a 25 marks question. Definitely, you will have to pay more attention on this. You can go through Varshni and you can go through Tannen and other books also, of course, and case law, as I already told you, Chorless cases on banking law. So I will again come back to you with more details on the modus operandi and then other issues related thereon with regard to these letters of credit. Thank you very much, dear friends. Goodbye and good day. Bye.